In this episode, we will start building the brand book, also known as brand guidelines. And the first step when building a brand book is to collect reference images for your bottles, your packaging, color palette, typography, and other things. This is not the step where we define the packaging, but it's the step where we get inspired and we find what we actually like and what we think is in alignment with the brand. We don't collect random images, we collect the ones that we feel like could work potentially. Now I'm going to open the brand book template that comes with my kit. This is a complete template, contains everything that I need, and I'm going to come here, click File, Save As, and just start a new brand book. Now skipping to the future, I have already found the images. And if you're wondering how I actually did that, I'm going to show you. It's not that complicated, but I did not want to waste your time making you watch me scroll through Pinterest. It's really not that complicated. Essentially, in this brand book template, I have multiple pages, which is just a grid of images. And when you're building your own brand book, you want to dedicate at least one page for bottles, then one page for packaging, then one page for colors, one for typography, one for imagery regarding your photography, about your product and just lifestyle and social media images. And then you want one which is like anti-reference, because it's just as important what you don't want to look like as it is what you do want to look like. For those who have no idea how to go about this, like I said, write down a list of all the things you need. References for packaging, colors, typography. Write all this down. Then you open Pinterest and you start by typing your search requirements. What kind of bottle are you looking for? Is it cylindrical? Is it spherical? Is it square? Do you want a specific color, a specific texture, a specific size? But you don't have to use Pinterest. For example, this first image I generated with AI. And it absolutely doesn't matter where you get it from, because this is simply a reference for you to later be able to decide. We're going to get into directions where we decide which direction we want to take the brand in. And that's where the references will come in. It's just like a directional sign. So don't worry about having to have the perfect picture. This is simply for you to remember what you like, what direction we're going in. Let me give you a very specific example. I know that I want my 5mm Discovery set to have this cigarette packaging format. I've seen this before and I know I like it. I've also designed a prototype myself some time ago, like a year ago, which is like a very simple, how to show you. It's just, I know I like how it feels in your hand. So all I needed was some kind of reference to remind myself what this might look like. So I could just come to the search and type cigarettes, perfume, packaging. And there we go. For example, I found this one. I copy the image, copy image, and then, I can paste it in here. It's very easy with this template. And I just repeat this for all the other images. But here's the trick. When you find an image you like, don't just go back and start searching for the other ones. Because the way Pinterest works is it likes to combine images that are similar. So if you like this one, it's more likely that you will find what you're looking for when you click on it and look down on these related images. For example, this one is kind of similar. This one. Last time I did this, it had more relevant images, but let's try to find something else. Okay, for example, this Balenciaga. Now we have two more packaging ideas. Let's go back, let's try to find this one. Okay, so we have this one, it's kind of what we're looking for. We have also here, this is a similar packaging. So maybe let's click on this or this one, and we can open in new tab. I recommend you open all of these in new tabs, because you will be able to not forget, because Pinterest is almost like a black box. If you lose the image, it's hard to find it again. So just open a new tab. It's easy to close the tabs. It's hard to find the image again once you have lost it. So yeah, just come, copy image and paste it in your mood board. Now I'm going to walk you through my mood board and show you my thinking for each of this. I have not organized this yet, so it might feel like it's all over the place, and I might delete some of these pictures after a while. But for me, the bottle design is really important, and that's why there are so many. Maybe for you, you don't need that many, but for me, I have all kinds of bottles. Like I have one type for the Discovery set, that will be like this small one. Then I have one for the normal size, and then I also have the collector pieces that I added some reference ideas. I'm not saying this is what it will look like, it's just a reference, a direction. Therefore, I needed many images to find references for what I like. But you can kind of see that in this first artboard, I'm collecting smaller sample bottles, so 2 mil, 5 mil, 10 mil. This does not have to be organized, and this won't be put in the actual brand book. This is just for us to remember, and I feel like I keep repeating myself. Then in this next artboard, I was looking for more larger bottle sizes because I realized if all I have is 5 mil, 10 mil, and then the only next upgrade is to get a collector piece, which may or may not exist at all, then there is a gap for the people who have already decided that they like the perfume and they want it at a larger size. Because not everybody wants to buy a fragrance 5 times per year just because it doesn't come in a larger bottle. Plus it is a waste since you have to throw out the bottle. Personally, I don't like it. So here I was putting references for the bottle shapes I like. And yes, one of them is inspired by Absolute Vodka. The shape that I'm going for with all of these is a more lab-inspired design. Something that looks clean and transparent, not tinted, but an interesting shape. I don't want a boring cylindrical, although it's not bad, but something like this, or this, or this is way more interesting. And so I was just collecting different references to let myself see what is possible, and then I will decide. This final artboard was for the larger bottle sizes, so the collector pieces. I was looking at something that might have a 3D texture on the bottle, or maybe some kind of interesting combination of colors. I really love these kinds of dark, moody, almost neon-like colors. And when it looks like the perfume is tinted, that is beautiful. Also, these kinds of perfume bottles and designs, they feel luxurious. Not necessarily because of the gold, but the kind of shapes and textures they're using, and I'm inspired by that. Next, I did packaging. Again, the first ones are for the smaller sizes, so we have the cigarette inspired packaging. I am pretty much certain that that's what I want for the samples. Speaking of which, I realized that my samples won't be 2 mil, they're going to be 5 mil. And there is a strategic decision behind this. If I give them just 2 mil, yes, it is enough for them to have a crush on the fragrance, but it's not enough for them to fall in love with the fragrance. 2 mil is not enough for them to develop a habit of wearing it. Because depending on how much they spray, it might be gone in 1 or 2 days, maybe a week. Or maybe they'll be too afraid to spend it, so they don't wear it, and they just don't fall in love with it. But if you give them 5 mil, that is enough for them to wear it and not feel like they're gonna run out of it. Therefore, that's what I decided about the sizes. One more reason why I'm choosing a cigarette style packaging instead of regular box discovery set is because those boxes you want to throw out. You don't necessarily feel like keeping them, and usually they're quite large. This is a vitamins box, but the discovery sets are 2 times larger than this most often. Whereas something like this, you can put in your pocket. And I want the person to carry this around with them. I want them to put this in their backpack. Because not only that encourages them to wear it and include it in their daily schedule, but it also increases the chance of word of mouth marketing. What I'm trying to say is that choosing this kind of packaging is not just about I like it, it's also about the fact that this is more likely to be carried around and therefore more likely to be included in word of mouth marketing, more likely to be smelled by this person and other people around this person, and it helps us to embed our product in this person's life. Because if we give them a large box like this, which could be the size of a book, they're not gonna want to carry it with them if they travel or just go to the gym, and it's just gonna sit home collecting dust. Finally, moving on to the bigger sizes, I most likely will go with this book style opening because that feels exciting, but I'm also considering this Byredo style box which you open from the top. There will be slight friction when you open it, it would feel heavy, which will help to make the box feel more premium. But also it has this kind of border ledge style which makes it look more interesting. Same idea as here. I don't think I'll go with the vertical kind of opening, although this would be something you would want to keep on the desk maybe. I don't know, probably not. I did not spend too much time on this big box packaging because I doubt somebody would keep this. Only the smaller sizes where you will want to carry them with you, So the box has to be something that you want to carry, something you want to keep. Whereas with these ones, the unboxing experience is more important since you won't likely be keeping this large box in your house. You'll throw it out. But we will also include a handwritten note, and whatever text we put on the box, it's going to be not using ink, but this kind of embossing, debossing technique. Let's quickly move on. The color palette, we're going to be going with grays, maybe like light paper texture, silver, glass, charcoal grays, and if there is a need for color, maybe a link on the website, or I'm considering that some bottles might have a colorful ink. Then moving on to fonts, I just wanted to note that I'll have some kind of script here. I will have a serif font and sans serif like this. I really like these fonts. I'll try to figure out what this is and maybe use this for myself. I also like the font that Orthoparisi is using on Mega Mare and the other ones in the line. But I did not spend too much time as well because I already did that in one of the previous videos. I pretty much have the font. There's not much I need to do about this. And one of the final things I found references for is what I want the imagery to look like in photography. In this case, we really want to avoid the typical fragrance photography, for which we have a specific page to show the anti-reference. So no models in the pictures with a butt in your face. No handsome man holding a fragrance trying to seduce you. We will avoid this traditional performative minimalist photography, and we will avoid the photography which makes you feel like you're trying to become rich. From the poor person's perspective, what rich looks like. We will also avoid laying out ingredients like Le Labo or trying to put our bottles in some kind of weird artificial environments. Instead, the kind of photography we're going for is solitude, but the good kind of solitude where you know you're building something, you know what you're doing, fog, concrete, mostly a cold feeling photography. And when it comes to product photography, these ones I generated with AI because I just could not find what I wanted to find, since like usually people don't take this kind of photography for perfumery. For us, it would be just a bottle on concrete, using shadows and light to make the photo interesting, and avoiding studio-like soft shadows. Or we could take a photo of the bottle in the context where it's being used, like with pens or notebooks around it. We can also take photos of the discovery sets or the bottle next to the box or something like that. And really that's all for the mood board. We have quite a lot of pages. I think we have 9 mood board pages because there really is a lot of inspiration, and I just want to say you don't have to find all of them on Pinterest. If you have real life inspiration, like you have a bottle at home or you can find it on magazine, just take a photo of that and put it in here. It doesn't have to come from Pinterest, it can come from anywhere. The idea is simply to take your references and put them all in one place, because we will be going on replacing this template with our actual brand content. And that's what we're going to do in the next episode. We will decide what 2 directions are we going to go in, which means we will take all of this in mind and we will compile the best of the best, and we will create 2 different directions for the brand to go in, including color palettes and packaging and typography. After that, we're going to start designing visual identity and go from there. If you want to build your own brand book, you want this exact brand template that I'm using, you can find a link to this in the description. It's part of my kit, which has this as well as the brand strategy and many other helpful resources for brand building.